Believe it or not, but the Attack on Titan anime is finally coming to an end, with the last episode being scheduled for November 4th. This episode is also known as Attack on Titan Final Season Part 3 Part 2, which is crazy if you think about it, but MAPPA is also doing its best to bless us with some top-tier, incredible animation, so all's fair. The titular Titan, the Attack Titan, has proved itself to be much more than a stereotypical strong protagonist in Hajime Isayama's masterpiece of a story. It influences and even creates the story. Normally, protagonists are characters driven by the plot. Meanwhile, someone like the deuteragonist or the antagonist is more likely to drive the plot, which eventually causes the protagonist's character to evolve. For example, protagonist Naruto is a character who is driven by the plot, whereas deuteragonist Sasuke Uchiha is a character who drives the plot forward. And then you have Eren Yeager, whose character not only drives the plot, but also pushes it a certain way to drive his own character. The events revolve around his actions, and he uses those actions to create events that make him take certain actions in response to those events. Hard to make sense of it, but this makes the storyline of Attack on Titan circular, because everything is a plot point. Interestingly enough, Eren's ability to do this is tied to his anatomy. This raises a question. How can a character's anatomical abilities have such a great impact on the story? This is what we'll get down to in this video, as we hope to gloss over every tiny detail to make it all the more easy for you to understand. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. The creation of the Attack Titan and how it gets passed down to Eren Yeager. The power of the Titans originated approximately 2,000 years ago, prior to the fall of Shiganshina. Back then, Eldia was nothing more than a tribe with a tyrannical ruler who went around enslaving people. One day, one of the slaves, Ymir, was singled out for freeing a pig against the wishes of the ruthless ruler. He sent out his men to hunt her down while she ran through the woods, fighting for her life. Injured and incapable of holding on, Ymir found a tree with a gaping hole and decided to hide inside. However, she accidentally fell into a body of water via the hole where a hallucigenia-like entity, which resembled a fishbone, stuck itself to her spinal cord. This entity, according to real-world history, did exist at one point and was considered to be the origin of all living matter. Something similar was replicated in the world Ymir lived in, as the entity became responsible for giving her the power of the founding Titan. She was then made to use her power by the Eldian king to help him conquer and subjugate other tribes while advancing Eldia. Unfortunately, her life of enslavement, despite her powers, led to her dying prematurely, as she had lost her will to live and didn't care to regenerate her body when mortally wounded, though she did have the ability to do so. To keep the power of the founding Titan intact, the king coerced his and Ymir's children to consume Ymir's innards and her spinal fluid. Not only did this pass down Ymir's powers, but this also became a ritual, as people would continue to consume the spinal fluids of their Titan ancestors to gain access to the powers of the Titan shifters. This essentially split the Titan powers into 9 Titan shifters, namely the Armored Titan, the Colossal Titan, the Female or the Female Form Titan, the Beast Titan, the Jaw Titan, the Warhammer Titan, the Cart Titan, the original Founding Titan, and of course, the Attack Titan. Eldia continued to use its unrivaled titanic might, quite literally, to conquer other parts of the world. This resulted in the rampant mistreatment of the non-Eldians under Eldia's tyranny, with Marleyans becoming victims of the lion's share of the oppression and slaughter. Eventually, the pacifist King Karl Fritz, whose heart hurt terribly for the people of Marley, decided to confine his race of Eldians to Paradise Island. Because the power of the founding Titan was kept within the royal family, he used the founder's power to create hundreds and thousands of colossal Titans, who were then hardened to give rise to the notoriously mighty walls of Attack on Titan. He also used his powers to eradicate the Eldians' memories of the outside world and made them believe that they are what remains of humanity, with the rest being annihilated by the Titans we see swarming outside the walls throughout the first 3 seasons of the show. Meanwhile, most of the Titan shifters, barring the founding Titan, fell into the hands of Marley, where they were used as war powers for the refugee Eldians to wield while serving in the Marleyan military. However, one particular Titan shifter never fell into Marleyan hands, and this shifter was the Attack Titan. By the 7th episode of Attack on Titan, we learn that the protagonist, Eren Yeager, has the Attack Titan inside of him, which was passed down to him by his father. Following the Return to Shiganshina arc in the second part of Season 3, Eren finally manages to go to his father's basement with the surviving members of the Survey Corps, and they learn the truth of the world. In the flashback sequence, we find out that Eren's father, Grisha Yeager, who was sick of the oppressions Eldians faced in Marley for, well, being Eldians, was the leader of the Restorationists movement. However, such an act was considered to be grave treason in Marley. The group of restorationists was able to keep their head above water because one of their spies, who is often referred to as an owl, was present in the Marleyan Public Security Authorities, aka the MPSA. Unfortunately, the movement did get busted by Grisha's son in Marley, Zeke Yeager, and the restorationists were forcefully converted into unintelligent pure titans by a Marleyan officer from the MPSA. But before he could convert Grisha into a pure titan, another man present at the scene, who was seemingly working for the MPSA, revealed himself to be the Owl. This man, Aaron Kruger, killed his superior and passed down the power of the attack titan to Grisha, who was then able to infiltrate inside the walls of Paradise Island, probably by using the Titan's power to keep him alive among the horde of pure titans swarming outside the walls. Following the attack on Aaron's hometown, Shiganshina, Grisha passes down the attack titan and the key to his basement to Aaron after he injects him with the Titan serum. Aaron turns into a pure titan and consumes Grisha, because that is what titans do, and the rest is history. Anatomical breakdown of the attack titan. How does it look and what does it do? In terms of power, the average pure titan is a lot stronger than a human being. That doesn't mean that humans cannot take pure titans out because, firstly, pure titans lack intelligence, and secondly, humans in Paradise Island have successfully developed a technology with the ODM and the 3D maneuver gear while having figured out the weaknesses of titans. They learn to use the gear and slice off the titan's napes, which takes them out by preventing regeneration. On the other hand, intelligent titans like the attack titan are a lot stronger than pure titans, be it in terms of possessing skill, as they are controlled by humans, or in terms of raw power and abilities. We see Aaron's attack titan in action for the first time in the 7th episode, when he saves Mikasa from pure titans. Eventually, the other members of the Survey Corps witness the attack titan fight off the pure titans while displaying tactical skills akin to martial arts. The Titan can do this because Aaron is a trained soldier. When he fights Rainer in his Titan form, we see Aaron use the fighting tactics he had learned from Annie to defeat Rainer. During his fight with Annie, we see Annie use her signature moves while in Titan form. Obviously, it is the possession of intelligence among the Titan shifters that allows them to consciously use their human minds while in their Titan bodies. Because the Attack Titan is not heavily armored with hardening like the Armored Titan, the Attack Titan possesses decent levels of speed. Judging by its name, the Attack Titan's objective is simply to attack, while the Armored Titan's primary objective is to defend. So, it makes sense for Aaron's Titan to be lighter and possess more agility. As a Titan, the Attack Titan can obviously regenerate, which it does while giving out steam. Aaron doesn't need to be in his Titan form to regenerate, however. Generally, experienced Titans can choose which body part they want to regenerate first and which they want to regenerate later. We see Annie do it when she gets blinded by Levi's squad. She would theoretically require a minute to regenerate her eyes, but due to her situation amidst the battle, she prioritizes regenerating one eye over both and manages to attain it within 30 seconds. In Season 4, we see Aaron regenerate his eye and leg before he commences his attack on Marley, because up until then, he is masquerading as an average war veteran. It is easy to understand how and why a Titan shifter can do something like this, because to turn into a Titan in the first place, a shifter needs to have a self-inflicted injury and a motive. Aaron is able to turn into a Titan for the first time as he feels helpless for not being able to help his friends and losing his life early while inside the stomach of the pure Titan who swallowed him. He turns into a partial Titan again when he transforms with the objective of protecting Mikasa and Armin from the military's attack. Finally, he fails to transform into a Titan despite inflicting a severe amount of self-injury during one of Hanji's experiments because he doesn't have a clear motive. Later, while trying to pick up a spoon while his injuries were healing, he accidentally transforms into a Titan, but it is later revealed that the only part that transformed was his hand. This allows Hanji to conclude Aaron's need for a motive. Because his mind is responsible for his transformation, his mind should also be responsible for how he wants to go by his regeneration. In terms of physical appearance, Aaron's Attack Titan is visibly taller than the average pure Titan and stands at a height of 15 meters. Its physique is the dream of every painter from the Italian Renaissance. The musculature is extremely well developed in terms of both performance as well as aesthetics. The Titan boasts 8-pack abs, elfish ears, overgrown brown hair with chin-length fringes, an absurdly high number of teeth, a Roman nose, and green glowing eyes. Most Titan shifters have Titan forms that resemble their human faces, at least to a certain extent. For example, when the Survey Corps was trying to deduce who the female Titan was, Mikasa pointed out how she thought the female Titan and Annie looked similar. It also wasn't a coincidence that several viewers felt the same way. After we found out about Rainier and Bertholdt being the armored and the colossal Titan respectively, it was easier to put two and two together in terms of physical appearance. Obviously, there are cases like the Cart Titan and the Beast Titan, where the Titan has minimal humanoid features. However, Eren's Attack Titan does resemble him to a certain extent, especially with the green eyes, which is a feature Eren seems to have even in his human form. This brings us to Grisha and Kruger. Kruger's Titan has a face that is more reminiscent of him than Eren's, although it boasts glowing green eyes as well, despite Kruger not having green eyes. However, the Attack Titan in this case seems to have a great physique as well, but its ears are more human and not pointy like Eren's Titan. Grisha's Attack Titan has pointy ears, but the physical appearance is quite different compared to that possessed by both Erens. Firstly, the Attack Titan wielded by Grisha is bigger in size and potbelly. It doesn't look nearly as fit as that of the Erens, and that is probably because Kruger and Eren Yeager were both soldiers. Meanwhile, we see Grisha's Titan form during a time when he primarily operates as a doctor and a civilian. It also has a full beard and a hairy body. It is possible that Grisha is genetically hairier, which results in his son Zeke being a hairy monkey-like Beast Titan. At this point, we do know different Beast Titans turn into different beasts. Eren might have not been as hairy as Grisha due to his mother's side of the family, although this entire thing is an airy hypothesis. We don't really get explicit answers as to why Grisha's Titan doesn't look as strong or badass as Kruger's or Eren's, but we are considering the genetic aspect of it since Grisha and his sons Eren and Zeke are the only Titan shifters with pointy ears. However, Grisha's Attack Titan does not have the same green eyes as that of Eren Yeager or Kruger's. The Attack Titan cannot speak, and although this is not an anomaly, being able to speak as a Titan shifter is not an anomaly either. The Beast Titan is quite eloquent. The Warhammer, and to some extent, the Cart Titan can speak as well. It's possible that some Titans have the necessary anatomy to allow speech. We know the Attack Titan can roar though. We see Eren do it time and time again. Another such situation would be the presence of skin. It is something all pure Titans generally have, but certain Titan shifters don't possess skin. In some cases, it can be a design choice, whereas in others, it's connected to their Titan's powers. For example, Colossal Titan doesn't possess skin and has its muscular framework out for the world to see. It makes sense considering its abilities as it fends off attacks and defends itself by letting off steam. Even if it did have skin, the steam would have caused the skin to wilt away. It would eventually regenerate, but long story short, the Colossal Titan is better off without skin due to the nature of its ability. Then we have the Armored Titan, which has the majority of its body covered with hardening. We know that several Titans can harden. Annie can selectively harden certain parts of her body, which she generally uses to amplify her attacks, protect her nape from being sliced, or crystallize herself to avoid having to reveal information to the Survey Corps. The Beast Titan can also harden itself, as we witness Zeke trying to harden his nape to save himself from Levi's terrifying attack during the return of Shiganshina arc. The Warhammer Titan's entire shtick is using her hardening abilities to create weapons. However, it is only the Armored Titan who has its hardening thick and on at all times due to its primary objective being defense. Certain body parts, such as the areas behind his knees that are necessary for him to walk, are actually unhardened and also lack skin. It doesn't have skin probably because it doesn't need it. The female Titan has sparse skin in some parts and exposed muscles in others, but many fans believe that the reason behind this is mostly a design choice by Isayama, as he didn't want the character's appearance to be sexualized. So, where does that leave us with Eren? He probably has skin because of simpler reasons. His design looks much more human and better with skin. He doesn't have any ability that requires him to not have skin. Every Titan is actually created in the Paths realm by founder Ymir. Time moves painfully slowly there, and it basically takes her an abnormal amount of time to create the Titans, but the transformations and regenerations are instantaneous because time moves faster in the real world. Because the process of Titan creation is so painstaking for the founder, she picks and chooses the amount of effort needed to create her Titans. The pure Titans are essentially fodder, barring the Dinah Fritz pure smiling Titan. As a result, the pure Titans can have underdeveloped bodies and anatomies. However, it is essential for the Titan shifters to have well-developed anatomies so they can fight properly. Naturally, the founder must cut features here and there, so if a Titan has things such as an extensive body armor or steam generation going on for it, then the founder can choose to not give it skin, especially because it's more time-consuming to create a 60-meter Colossal Titan or an Armored Titan decked head to toe in hardening. This is probably why Zeke's Beast Titan and Peak's Cart Titan can speak, because they have roles where it's necessary for their Titans to speak. Zeke is a war chief, so it's necessary for him to interact. Peak has humans operating on her back using weaponry, so it's essential for her to interact with them. So, such Titans are probably created with anatomies that allow for speech. Not to say that Attack Titan doesn't need speech, but it can do perfectly well without having to talk to others. Because the Attack Titan has a male form, the sexualization isn't as big of a deal as it would have been with the female Titan, especially because Titans lack reproductive organs. It's essential to remember that the Japanese word for the female Titan translates to female form Titan, which means that the Titan, irrespective of its wielder, has a female form. The other Titans can have female wielders, but will not possess a feminine body. Before we get down to discussing the Attack Titan's hardening abilities, we are just going to mention that we have no definite explanation for Eren's glowing, fired-up physique during the Battle of Trost, from which he went berserk while fighting Annie. This is because the Fire Titan form is an anime-only thing. You could argue that because cellular regeneration in Titans lets out steam, Eren's body had visible cracks with fire because he was undergoing rapid regeneration due to his berserker state. However, it's more likely for the form to be a liberty taken by Wit Studio to make the fight flashier and more pleasing to the eye. So let's finally talk about the hardening and why Eren has it. As we've mentioned, several other Titan shifters have the ability to harden. Because Marley had 7 out of 9 Titan shifters under its wing, it has often used and developed Titan science to give them abilities while enhancing the existing abilities of the Titan. For example, the female Titan doesn't have any inherent ability of its own, so the scientists basically went crazy with their experimentations. This led to the Titan being able to selectively harden certain body parts or summon pure Titans towards it. The Jaw Titan under Marley is stronger because the transformation manifests a strong, mask-like feature. We don't see Ymir from the Survey Corps possess the same mask when she becomes the Jaw Titan, because she never underwent those experiments. Titan science also existed when Eldia possessed all of their Titans. During the events of the show, however, only the Marleyan military and the royal family in Paradise seem to know about the secrets of the Titan. This is why an armor serum was available in Rod Reyes' arsenal. Eren found it when Rod tried to turn Historia into a pure Titan and feed Eren to her, because Eren possessed the founding Titan alongside the Attack Titan. With Historia being royalty, it only made sense for Rod to want Historia to become the founding Titan instead of letting someone without royal blood keep it. However, Historia turned against Rod and broke the Titan's serum, which Rod licked from the ground to turn into a Titan. The unnatural action of consuming the serum by licking it from the ground instead of having it injected led to Rod becoming a pure Titan, which was much more unnatural than the average pure Titan. Because of the Titan's enormous size, the underground chapel where Eren was being held began to crumble. To protect himself and the Survey Corps members who were there to save him, Eren spotted the armor serum, injected it into himself, and hardened his entire body to leave behind an impenetrable crystallized shell that held the establishment together like pillars. Up until then, Hanji had been experimenting to get Eren to harden so that the ability could be used to seal Wall Maria. After the absorption of the armor serum, Eren was able to use his body to seal the openings in Wall Maria. He also learned how to selectively harden parts of his body like Annie did, which he continued to use to amplify his attacks, hardened knuckles for stronger punches, and so on. He later consumed the Warhammer Titan in Season 4 during the Attack on Marley arc. He then used its abilities after Marley attacked Paradise Island to create spikes and other hardened offensive and defensive weaponry during his fight against Rainier's Armored Titan and Porco Galliard's Jaw Titan. It is almost impossible to bypass the Titan's hardening unless you employ some very specific methods. The Survey Corps created the Thunder Spears, along with their explosive force, to take out Rainier's hardening. Annie's crystallization has a hardening that is stronger than what shifters use on their bodies, but a crystallized shell can be broken using the Jaw Titan's jaws. The Founding Titan, due to its access to the power of all Titans, can undo the hardening of other Titans. However, Eren was unable to access this power for the longest time because he was not of royal blood. Those of royal blood could use the Founder's power to unharden, but the anti-war vow of Karl Fritz prevented them from utilizing the Founder's power to its fullest as well. It isn't until Eren comes into contact with Zeke, who is of royal blood, that he is able to undo the hardening of the walls on Rainier's body and Annie's crystal all at once. The ultimate ace up the Attack Titan's sleeve. What makes the Titan so important? The Attack Titan has always been very different from other Titans in its philosophy. It was always free. It is always charged towards freedom. It is historically known for always moving forward. Another character in the show is notorious for having this exact personality, and it's none other than Eren Yeager himself. Levi acknowledged it during the first season when he mentioned how Eren was dangerous even without his Titan due to his desire to always charge ahead without caring about anything else. else. From the pilot episode itself, we see Eren harbor a mentality where he hates being tied down. He hates living like cattle, confined behind walls, cowering in the face of being slaughtered by the Titans outside. He always wanted to join the Survey Corps because he wanted to be free. After the fall of Shiganshina and his mother, Karla Jaeger's death, his sentiments only got stronger. He gets angry at Jean for wanting to join the military police to live a life of comfort. He swears vengeance upon every single Titan and vows to kill every one of them with his bare hands, which did sound pretty far-fetched back in Season 1. Throughout everything, Eren Yeager wants to do one thing and one thing only. He wants to attack. He wants to keep moving forward until he destroys all of his enemies. One could initially argue that Eren has such a personality because he wields the Attack Titan, but Eren was always the way he was. His personality didn't change after he acquired the Attack Titan. He mentions this to Zeke when the two brothers take a trip down their memory lanes via the paths, as Zeke hopes to see a past where Eren was manipulated into becoming aggressive by Grisha. However, Zeke goes on to learn that Eren grew up being loved by both parents. He is the way he is because that's just how he's always been. He didn't kill two kidnappers in cold blood at 9 years of age to save Mikasa because he had the Attack Titan inside of him. He had no Titan in him at that time. The thing about Titan shifters is that they attain the memories of their past wielders when they become shifters. It may not be instantaneous, and it can take some time for the past memories to appear to them. The one thing they learn almost immediately is that they can self-injure to turn into Titans. The memories of the past wielders also influence the future wielders. For example, Armin learns about Bertholdt's life after becoming the Colossal Titan. He begins to have feelings for Annie as well, much like Bertholdt did, although it's not proven that Armin loves Annie because he has Bertholdt's memories. They could be his own feelings. It's complicated, to say the least. In Season 3, Eren gains the memories of his father and Eren Kruger and learns about the Attack Titan always charging ahead for freedom. He learns about smaller details, like Eldians and Marley not being allowed to eat ice cream. He even sees the place where the Restorationists were turned into pure Titans. This is why he is able to go view his past memories from his own childhood while he is with Zeke in Paths. However, there is something deeper going on when it comes to the Attack Titan. For the longest time, we don't see this Titan have a special ability, unlike the others. Its hardening is purely a result of using the armor serum and is not an inherent ability like the armored Titans or a result of being able to perform mimicry like the female Titan. Eren takes Zeke back to the time when Grisha had allegedly killed the royal family, including the children, in the underground chapel to reclaim the founding Titan. However, this is a place where Grisha himself reveals the Attack Titan's special ability to the Reyes family. While the other Titans can see the past, the Attack Titan can also look into the future. Well, it can't exactly see the future, but the future wielders of the Attack Titan can show its memories to its past wielders. This is why a grown-up Eren is able to visit Grisha in the past by accessing Grisha's memories. The Attack Titan can do this to influence the actions of its previous wielders, which Eren does in a show of one of the craziest plot twists in fiction history. Grisha was supposed to kill the Reyes family, but he actually fails to do so. He claims that as a doctor, his job is to save lives, not take them. However, future Eren visits him and coerces him into killing the Reyeses in an iconic scene as he reminds Grisha about how his sister was fed to the dogs, how his wife, Dinah Fritz, was turned into a pure Titan, how his companions had fallen, and how this was the time to avenge them. Finally, this gives Grisha the necessary push to kill the Reyes family, barring Rod Reyes, because Eren needed him alive for the events of the Uprising arc in Season 3. During the revelation in the basement, Eren Kruger had told Grisha about the Attack Titan's constant desire for freedom. He even asked Grisha to make a new life for himself within the walls to protect Mikasa and Armin. Neither Kruger nor Grisha knew who Mikasa and Armin were, and Kruger claimed to not know whose memories had told them of these people. However, it's now evident that Eren Yeager had influenced Kruger to be the Owl, pass down the Attack Titan to Grisha, and convince him to start a family within the walls. Because Eren's ultimate goal seems to be protecting his friends. He even says this during the card scene where he confesses to wanting his friends to live a long life, gains his power for the first time, and displays it to save Mikasa. It's no secret that Mikasa and Armin are the two most important people in Eren's life. There are lots of Easter eggs scattered throughout the show that tell us how Eren has always been the ultimate Attack Titan. During the scene where Grisha tells young Eren about the basement, he is seen looking outside rather than at Eren, who's behind him. We now know that he was addressing addressing the grown-up Eren and Zeke, who were visiting Grisha via the memories. There are sequences of older scenes where there is a figure who looks very similar to the adult Eren as well. The Attack Titan is freedom-driven, offensive, and keeps charging ahead without letting anyone or anything control it, because the Titan's personality is molded by Eren himself. He has used the Titan to influence every single one of its past wielders to make them work according to his plans. Eren is the only one who has seen every possible future, and as we know, parallel timelines kind of do exist within the paths in Attack on Titan. We see this in the OVA, where Eren and Armin try to cross the walls in their hot air balloon. A high school version of Attack on Titan exists where Armin is a nerd and Mikasa is kind of a goth girl. Although this can be written off as a spin-off, the anime does throw in shards of the alternate universe within the paths. There are other instances too, but let's avoid it for the sake of not spoiling it for the anime onlys. Because Eren ultimately gains access to the Founder's powers and the coordinate, he is able to visit every possible timeline. Eren is the only one who has seen every single future possibility, and he knows that unless he causes the rumbling worldwide, there is no hope for Eldians, and by extension his friends. With the Attack Titan's ability to show future memories to the past wielders, Eren influences the former wielders of the Titan to act according to his plans. As such, Eren can orchestrate the entire story. In conclusion, this is why the Japanese name for the show translates to not Attack on Titan, but Attack Titan. This is a story that was started by Eren, and it's a story that certainly ends with him as well. Marvelous verdict. To truly understand Eren's influence as and over the Attack Titan better, you should really just rewatch the show. A lot of things he used to say didn't make much sense in the older seasons. How could a simple boy eradicate the Titans? How could he claim absurd things like he will destroy the world? You know now that it was just him talking about his future. He does cause the rumbling. He had mentioned wanting to destroy every single one of him. That is literally what he's doing right now in the anime. The only difference is that he's doing it to humans, not to the Titans. And it's Eren's anatomical advantage as a Titan who can send future memories to the past wielders that allows him to craft an entire reality from scratch. With that, today's video comes to an end. What did you think of the Attack Titan's anatomy? Did you enjoy this video? If so, then don't forget to like and comment down below. Until next time, thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and always go for the nape.